very pleased about this. We're actually going to see the unfinished monolith, one of the largest T-shaped pillars, which would have stood at between 22 and 24 feet tall. And so this is something I tried to find last year, failed miserably. So we managed to get a guard to come and show us while it's not very busy here at Göbekli Tepe. This is classic kind of. This is the classic kind of story that happens at a lot of sites. We find this obviously with the unfinished obelisk at Aswan in Egypt, which is the largest obelisk ever made. We find this at Baalbek, which is the largest stones ever quarried. Were actually left in the quarry. Likewise, Ollantay Tambo, up on the mountain next door to it, where the stones came from, very large, lazy stones they call them, were found there. So this is just another example of leaving the biggest stone in the quarry, which is something I'm going to be writing an article about shortly. So it's a privilege to be able to get to find this one. So behind me, we're just along the edge of the quarry, really, of the largest 22 to 24 foot stone here at Göbekli Tepe. So this is the one that never got taken out of the bedrock properly, but it would have been the largest one at Göbekli Tepe itself. So it's fascinating to find it here, and it's amazing that it's still here, even though it's pretty badly weathered. Right.
What's happened clearly here is that the stone cutters have come here and they've tried to take it out of the bedrock, but they've seen certain fractures across it, or they fractured it as they were working on it, and they decided to leave it in situ. But it does give you an idea of how they were manufacturing the stones that were eventually taken 1/3 of a mile away to the site of Göbekli Tepe itself, that being the artificial mound. And because all of the stones have their own little hollow where they were taken from, there are various of them on this rock outcrop, and how much they were finished here, I don't know. I think that they were taken in a rough state and they were finished probably closer to the actual enclosures themselves. So, because otherwise you might damage the art that you've created on them. So I think that probably would have taken place up there. And of course this also raises the question once again of just how many people were involved in this project. Almost certainly it was hundreds, if not thousands, and they would have been brought here from the local communities, the local settlements, to the north, to the south, the east and the west, and they would have congregated here for periods of time, possibly a few days, and then return back to their villages. That would be the best suggestion. And very gradually, over a period of 1500 years, they created as many as 20 or so structures with as many as 200 major standing stones, menhirs, and maybe even more. And at the moment they've uncovered just 1/10 of the amount of what could be beneath the occupational mound. And who knows what awaits discovery under there. You know, certainly many other enclosures that will give us a much better lead on the orientations and the purpose of them, and perhaps the astronomical alignments. But also there could be things like polygonal walls. There could be anything there. You know, we could discover the bones of giants or long-headed people or anything like that. Stuff which would help confirm a lot of the myths and legends that I believe sprang up in this area, which is right on the edge of the Garden of Eden itself.
So you can see these square shaped blocks all around here, and we have the main pillar just here. There's the main top, very large top part of it, very similar to the vulture pillar. Then going down there we obviously have the main length of it. Fascinating that this may just well be another pillar here. Just behind me, it looks like this is another pillar. We just inspected it. It's about maybe 10-12 feet long. It's got a very large top to it, a very large T, which is actually similar to what we've seen at some of the stones at Göbekli Tepe. So it is pretty convincing this is the second pillar that never properly got out of the quarry and made it over to the main enclosure, but compelling nonetheless. And the fact that it's next to these very square cut blocks does suggest this may have definitely been a quarry area for Göbekli Tepe.